Hey everybody, this is Jim with Harvest Harmonics, and today on the Profitable Farmer, I'm going to be going a little bit more into how our technology is able to do so much, and why, if you're looking for profitability, why our product makes so much sense, especially if you're really locked into traditional inputs, traditional fertility programs, traditional pesticide management programs, or pest management programs, those types of things. It's really easy. Before we kind of get into anything that we have or our technology, I want to offer you guys the opportunity. If you're watching this, please ask questions. Put them in the comments on Facebook. Ask questions. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're thinking about and what questions you have for us and our company as we kind of discuss this technology, because this is not just, and the reason why we keep using the word technology is because this is not just a product, right? It's not just an input or a fertilizer or even a piece of equipment. It's nothing just that simple that you can compare it, because one thing we like to do, is we compare what we know to what we don't know. And of course, it makes a lot of sense. If you're trying to figure out what something is like, you want to compare it to something, right? And I have some comparisons and analogies for you, but really, in this episode, I just want you guys to feel free to ask whatever questions you want as we go along here. But I want to kind of start by laying out what I'm. Uh, Roger Webster, how does your technology? Good question here. How does your pumpkin help giant pumpkins? Well, it increases the size of all fruits and vegetables. We're noticing huge increases in quality and quantity. So if you're looking for bigger pumpkins, you can definitely get a lot bigger pumpkins with what we're doing. It's not just for giant pumpkins, obviously, too, or show type stuff, but it improves the plant's metabolism and the plant's ability to generate energy for fruits and vegetables. So obviously, that's going to improve the size of fruits and vegetables that you're producing. And if you're looking for that giant pumpkin, we can probably help you. If you're already really skilled at that, we can probably add some, 20 or 30% onto the size and weight of your pumpkin as well. So I'll get into that in a little bit here. It's not just for big fruit, because that doesn't apply to everybody. But we look at the traditional landscape and we figure out what is it that we're doing as farming operations to try to increase crop yields in general. How do you increase the number of fruit and the size of fruit, and how do you get better quality? And the answer to most of that question is by adding more inputs to the soil, because the theory is, if the plant has if you're saturating the soil with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and other minerals that the plant needs, it's going to sort of push and force the plant's ability to absorb that. In other words, the plant will have better opportunity to contact those nutrients through the root system, and of course, it'll be uptaking them. We are looking at it from the slightly different perspective, really the opposite viewpoint, in terms of like, okay, if you have a plant and there's already nitrogen in the soil, there's already phosphorus in the soil, there's already these minerals exist in the soil, then how do we get the plant efficient so that it can actually utilize and absorb what's already there? Because if we can do that, if we can enhance the plant's ability to absorb and utilize nutrients, then we don't need to add as much fertility. It's not that the plants suddenly don't need nitrogen or phosphorus or potassium. It's that the plants are going to get what they need and utilize it more efficiently, so that it's able to produce the same crops that you normally would with reduced input costs. And if you're looking not necessarily to reduce inputs but maximize yield, you can continue using the same fertility program that you're already using, and our system will help the plants utilize and absorb and utilize those nutrients more efficiently to produce more crops. That's what we're seeing on farms all over the world. So, um, the people that ask us the technical questions, well, how do radio waves stimulate metabolism? How does this whole frequency thing work? Of course, I'm happy to answer those questions, and I'll get to that in a second here. But in terms of the profitability equation, there's really two ways to be more profitable as a farmer, right? You can increase your yield or reduce your costs. And there's only so much, just like if you're budgeting and finances of any business, if there's only so much you can reduce your costs. If you really want to see increases in profitability, you really have to look at improving yield. And that's something that most farmers want to do, but it's difficult sometimes to predict reliably how do we increase yield by 20, 30%. Because adding 20% more nitrogen in the soil is not going to magically equate on a one-to-one basis to 20% increases in crop yield. So we're looking at the plant itself and figuring out how do we improve the physiology of the plant so that it's able to do what it's genetically programmed to do, which is grow, be healthy, resist insects and funguses and other diseases, and produce offspring, produce fruits and vegetables, right? That's the plant's offspring, you know. So how do you produce more fruits and vegetables, and how to get those fruits and vegetables of very high quality? And that is, of course, what we're about. So I'm going to actually just share a few things. I'm not going to do this whole presentation with you. If you've watched our channel, I'm sure you've seen the full presentation a number of times. If not, you can go to our YouTube channel and check out the Kiminasi Plant Booster Overview #1. And I kind of go through a lot of different results and a lot of different things we're doing with plants. But I want to just kind of show you here what we're able to do. And go here. So again, our mission here is not just to make farmers a lot more money. That is, of course, one of our goals. We want to help farmers be more profitable, make more money, which is the reason for the show. But our mission as a company is really to help farmers grow healthier, better quality food for everybody with higher yields, lower input costs, and without harming the environment. Now, it's very difficult to do all of those things if you're just chasing around. But you have to understand that when you're looking at individual problems that farmers face, whether it's low yields or weather fluctuations or insect damage or diseases or funguses, we run around sort of chasing after these problems. We spray for this against this fungus with fungicide. We spray against these insects with insecticide. We put more nitrogen and stuff into the soil so that the plants have plenty of nutrients available to it. We water them. We do all these things, and we're chasing after these various issues that plants may encounter during the season, instead of actually looking at the root cause. The root cause of low production or these other problems that I just mentioned is usually a poor metabolism in the plant itself. It's kind of like if you're a heavy set guy, you weigh 200, you're 50 pounds overweight. If you eat a hamburger in a milkshake, your body's not going to be able to process all that fat and sugar and all that excess energy, so that it turns those extra calories into fat. You take a person with a healthy metabolism that's maybe in weight and very healthy metabolism, they could eat that same meal and not gain a pound, much to the annoyance of those of us who are a little overweight, right? So again, the basis of this technology is that all living things have a metabolism that operates according to a very specific frequency. Human beings operate, for example, according to the frequency of a heartbeat, right? Heart beats at about 60 to 70 beats a minute. And as long as the heart stays in that rhythm, that consistent rhythm of 60 to 70 beats per minute, the body will be healthy and all of its systems should be aligned more or less. However, when that frequency pattern gets disrupted or gets altered, in the case of plants, we're talking about weather fluctuations, heat, lack of availability of water, poor quality water, too much of one nutrient, not enough of another, those types of things. All these different factors can throw off the metabolism of a plant and cause it to operate at irregular frequencies. Now, when we looked at healthy plants that were healthy, vibrant, producing lots of flowers and lots of fruits and vegetables, they all operated according to a very specific frequency pattern, which, as we can see here on these sunflowers, is a very orderly process. However, when you have heat stress or insect damage or funguses or other types of stresses to the plant, the metabolism actually suffers, as you can see here in the sunflower that's not healthy, right? The plant starts to die, and that means that the photosynthesis engine, the metabolism of the plant, cannot function the way it should. And the plant will get less and less healthy and will produce less and less fruits and vegetables. So in the case of a row crop, the plant may not die, but if you notice that the leaves are wilting, for example, because it's 115 degrees outside, you may notice that also the plant's not flowering as much, and you may lose some flowers, you may lose some early buds, which would otherwise turn into fruit. And you ask yourself, well, how much fruit and flower loss am I losing over the course of a year? Well, in terms of the metabolism of a plant, you may lose 20, 30, 40, 50% of the available energy that the plant could normally produce just because of these factors. And so our technology is a unique technology that's never been seen before. It utilizes a very specific radio wave technology that, again, has not been applied to agriculture before, but it is very successful. and it dramatically improves the health of the plant and the metabolism of the plant. It's almost like a tuning fork for a plant. In human beings, we have a heartbeat that goes according to, if the heart's not beating in a regular uh, pattern, you may have like a pacemaker or something to keep that heart beating at a consistent pace. In the case of a plant, we don't have such a technology except for Leguminosity Plant Booster helps the plant by re-stimulating and stimulating the natural metabolism of a healthy plant. And so when plants absorb these signals with our technology in it, they grow stronger, healthier, faster. They produce more fruits and vegetables, and they improve their overall quality as well. Now, it's a very easy product to install. It goes right onto your irrigation system, and every time you water, you're going to be reinforcing the optimum metabolism of the plant. So, and I can go into all these things. The two key areas that our technology really improves is photosynthesis efficiency in terms of widening the range of weather conditions under which photosynthesis occurs, and to improve soil health, especially microbial activity in the soil. Now, because we're enhancing both of these two key factors simultaneously, the results we're seeing is a lot higher than what you would normally expect from a simple input. Now, most farmers are telling us that that they would expect an input to improve their quality or quantity of yield by maybe 5 and then maybe 10% if it was doing a really good job. But most inputs, if they get a 2% to maybe a 5% increase, the farmer is super happy. In our case, because we're enhancing both of these two key areas simultaneously, we're seeing yield increases of 20, 30, 40%, and even more. And some examples of this, again, photosynthesis, when we improve that, we get better quality, better vigor, better overall plant health. We get more production, and of course, we get better quality. And I can again show you a lot of different examples of this, but we're seeing faster growth rate, we're seeing more production, zero pesticide use, less minor flies, less nematodes, and more squash. And again, if you want to go through these in detail, go to our website at harvestharmonics.com and take a look at us there, because the technology will, we can show you all these different things. I don't want to make this a strict promotion, but in terms of profitability, what we're seeing is an increase in yield of 20 to 30% on specialty crops might generate a farmer three, four, $5,000 per acre more per year. And in terms of a technology like this, you have to understand this is not something that's you're going to spend $5 an acre and get, $15 an acre back and say, wow, I made good money. We're talking about this technology. You may spend a few $100s per acre. It's not necessarily an input in that sense, but you're going to be making 10 times that amount of money back in terms of extra yield. So let me ask some questions here. Is there, guys, is this stuff anything like Bioharmonic Tonic? Robert, I don't honestly know. That's a good question. I'm not really sure what Bioharmonic Tonic is or what that does. So maybe you and I can have a conversation about that uh, in a one-on-one if you like, and I can answer that question. I'm not exactly sure what that means or what that product is, but hey, who knows? It might have something similar. And Mark says, I have 9 scorpion red plants. They're in 10-inch pots, and 3 are 8-inch pots. I find it very funny this year because the smaller pots have produced more than the bigger pots. Actually, I'll put this on the screen so I'm not reading this. This is a Mark says, I have 9 scorpion plants, and um, the ones in smaller plants are producing more than the bigger plants, and all were fed the same. You never can tell what a plant needs, only when you see the results. Absolutely right. I mean, again, we kind of have this concept in agriculture that if we just keep adding more and more inputs, if we just keep adding more nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium to the soil, then we're going to ultimately translate that into better production. But again, there comes a point where the plant just cannot assimilate, it cannot absorb um, any more of those nutrients. It just has a certain genetic capacity to handle that. And if the plant cannot actually handle that, if the plant cannot absorb those nutrients, what happens to all that nitrogen that you're putting in the soil? Well, most of the time, what happens is that fertilizer then leaches out of the soil, or it goes into our waterways, and then it actually starts to poison our waterways. Here in Florida, we have a problem with an environmental problem with it's called red tide. What it is because of the commercial agriculture putting excess nitrogen into the soil, that goes into the waterways, the rivers and lakes, and then these algae start to grow because of this nitrogen, because the nitrogen feeds this algae in the same way that it would feed normal plants, terrestrial plants. And the algae starts to bloom out of control because it has all of this food available to it, right? And then eventually the algae runs out of food, and then it dies, and then that creates a poisonous environment for fish and wildlife and that kind of stuff in the waterways. So here in Florida, we see on the beaches every now and then. It's happening every couple of years now, where we see a lot of dead fish along the beaches, and right around where we normally would bathe and play in the ocean, because of all this red tide that's been going on. And it used to be once every 15 years. Now we're seeing it every couple of years, and it's becoming an environmental problem. And in other areas, it's the same things happening. So, trying to push more nutrients at the plant can work, but only to a certain degree. And then at some point, the plant is not going to be able to assimilate those extra nutrients. And not only are you wasting a lot of money on extra nutrients at that point, but you're also you know, creating environmental problems. And I read some articles called the nitrogen cascade, where it talks about some of this nitrogen compounds, when they evaporate back out into the atmosphere, creates greenhouse gases that are 100 times more powerful, or worse off in the environment than carbon dioxide. So you know, we're all worried about things like gas emissions from cars and stuff like that, which is of course important. But a lot of times what we're doing with commercial agriculture can be just as deadly in terms of greenhouse gases. And if we start to take care of the soil, we're actually going to improve and sequester that carbon and sequester some of those gases back into the soil. So those are factors as well. I just want to reiterate, guys, if you try to look at a thing that has a complex problem and a complex set of variables, and you start chasing individual little problems like we're doing in agriculture, like, hey, I want to get increased in yield, so I'm going to put more nitrogen in the soil. I want to get better insect. I want to protect it from insects, so I'm going to spray pesticides on the plants to kill the insects. I want to kill the weeds, so I spray herbicide all on the weeds and Roundup and those types of things in order to kill the weeds, so the plant has enough resources that it can grow. And all of these techniques are valid techniques. They do work, but they have drawbacks, and the drawbacks are, what happens to the quality of the soil, what happens to the microbes in the soil, what happens to all of these chemicals when they leach out of the soil and get into our waterways, as I mentioned. Um, Again, we're looking at this standpoint from how do we really improve the metabolism of the plant and the metabolism of the microbes in the soil, and how those two systems work together to produce really good crops, but also improve soil quality and the overall health of the plant as well. And that's really what we've accomplished with the Kiminasi Plant Booster. And that's why we're reaching out we keep reaching out every day. We keep obviously on our social media channels. We directly reach out to farmers every day. We're talking to people every day, and a lot of people are jumping on board with this, because at the end of the day, we have to look at this as a need. This is something that's important, not just for people that are environmental buffs or people that want to eat organic food. This is becoming something that's becoming more and more necessary around the world. We have to have good quality food. We have to have healthy, nourishing food, and we have to take care of our environment. Whether whatever your political persuasion might be, it doesn't really matter. We have to take care of our earth, and we have to take care of the food that we eat. And if COVID was not a stark reminder to everybody of how important healthy, nutritious food is for all of us, and how important it is that we take care of and become stewards of our environment, then I don't know what is. And with Kiminasi Plant Booster, we're working with farmers, we're helping farmers become more profitable and produce better quality fruit for all of us. And I think that's a win-win situation. So if you guys want to jump on board, if you guys want to be a part of the solution and a part of the future of agriculture, and a part of agriculture that's going to take us into the next generation, and not just worry about how much money you can make this year, but also take us into the next generation, and improve the quality of fruits and vegetables everybody gets to eat, then I want to work with you. Give us a call at 727-324-6750 for a one-on-one consultation. You can also fill out, I think, on our comments here, we have uh, some comments here where you can actually fill out a request for quote form. Fill that out with all of your information, and we'll get with you for a one-on-one consultation. Every system we build for the Kiminasi Plant Booster is custom designed for that particular irrigation system in that farm. So we need that information to provide a good, a good quality thing for you. So let me read some comments here too. Let's see what I got here. Count me in, Gilberto Ramirez. Count me in. Yboca.com. Hey, like I said, Gilberto, give us a call or send us an email at service@harvestharmonics.com, and let's get together. Let's work it out for your farm, and we'll get you set up. What else we got here? So, how can a person do one-on-one phone call with you guys? Because I grow organic vegetables and I try to grow mushrooms. Mushrooms is a bit different, but organic vegetables we can definitely help you. If you give us a call, again, you have our number there. Just write our number down, give us a call, and let's set up a time where we can talk one-on-one. I can discuss your farm and the particularities of it. Our system, a Kimanasi plant booster, does not use any chemicals. It's not radiation, so there's nothing irradiating the vegetables, and it does not use chemicals. It is a signaling technology that directly stimulates through the concept of harmonics, which is a law of physics called harmonics. It stimulates the plant's natural metabolism. So we're completely compatible with organic growing. I'd love to get on more organic guys to really help you guys boost your organic production. And if you guys are conventional guys, we'll work with you guys too. We can help you reduce your chemical usage, and you'll be able to see a reduction in your input costs, which I'm sure you'll be happy about as well. Um, and if you guys are out there and you're chemical salesman or your fertilizer salesman, you're thinking to yourself, these guys are here to take my lunch money. That's not the point here. But the idea is we want to help growers do a healthier job. So if you want to join us and help and carry our product and introduce it to farmers, we'll work with you too and help you maintain your profitability too. So don't think we're trying to cut you guys out just because we're trying to just help out. But I think that's all the questions we got today, guys. I want to just first of all thank everybody for joining us today on the Profitable Farmer. Next week, I think we're going to be going into some cost benefit analysis that we've done over the last year, just because we really want to kind of go over and show you guys real world examples of farmers that took us up on our offer this year. Early in the year, they decided they're going to get a 10-acre plot here, a 5-acre plot there, a 50-acre plot there, and we want to just showcase with you some of those farmers and how much money they're making this year because they took us up on the offer. They didn't wait. They didn't, you know, wait until they got 50 university studies all done. I mean, obviously that's ongoing right now, but we'll have those results for you soon as well. But those guys are making a lot more money, and next week we're going to show you guys real world examples of how much more money these farmers are making because of the Kimanasi plant booster. So we wanted to make this a real application. This is not just us promoting a product. This is us actually giving real world examples of how we're helping farmers because we want to help as many farmers as we can. And at the end of the day, we want to work with as many farmers as we can to produce better quality fruit and vegetables for everybody to eat. And of course, putting more money in your pocket is very important also. That's all we got. Again, for you, those of you guys who are interested, I think my assistant here had put, yes, Mary Isabel had put a form that you guys can fill out with your farm's information. Go ahead and click on that link and fill out your contact information and send it to us. And that way we can reach back out to you and we'll work with you on your farm to make the best setup for you so that you can become part of the future of farming today and become part of the profitable farmers in the very near future. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow.